I've represented injured cyclists on the road in London for about 20 years now. I love what I do. They're great people to represent. But it's also a job that brings a great deal of frustration and anger, to be honest, because of the things that I keep seeing and things that keep happening with just such tragic consequences. To bring this right up to date, 2 weeks ago today, I was spent the whole day at Southwark Coroner's Court at an inquest for a young lady killed on the road yet again by a lorry 18 months ago. It's very easy to think of these things just in terms of numbers, but when you are up close with the human devastation of either a serious injury or a death and the bereavement of the family, it's a very frustrating thing to deal with, and I basically look at these things as completely and utterly preventable. It was pleasing to hear Andrew touch on lorries and sensors and mentioning that. In my view, the mayor in particular needs to do a lot more than just touch on it. The mayor is the one person who's got the influence to push for legislation. In my view, legislation is the only way to compel lorry manufacturers to have these things on their lorries. I know there's plenty of people in the room here tonight who've worked hard and some of whom have lost people, I know that, because I've met them before. It's great to see so many familiar faces here tonight. But it's just so important. The lorry point, I think, is the main thing that I would stress more than anything tonight. Just on the basis of what more can be done, and just thinking about those couple of things, a couple of other things I'd like to mention. Criminal justice. There's two basic charges that can come out of a road accident. There's careless driving and dangerous driving. A few years ago, we got death by careless driving as well as death by dangerous, which is already there. One thing I'd really like to see is the mention of an injury in a criminal charge, because what tends to happen is the cyclist comes into the magistrate's court, sometimes on crutches, having been seriously hurt. The motorist, because he hasn't killed the cyclist, is charged with careless driving. Any defence lawyer who knows what they're doing is going to stand up and lecture the magistrates that they're only there to adjudicate on the motorist driving, whereas the poor cyclist who's been seriously hurt feels completely isolated. And that's something I've dealt with and experienced and heard the frustrations of cyclists for many, many years about that. And one change that I'd really like to see is for the injury to be actually mentioned in the criminal charge, because then the magistrates would have to take into account the personal impact of what the motorist has done. At the moment, all they need to do is think about the driving, unless, of course, the motorist kills the cyclist. Just a couple of other quick points. In terms of the police, I think sometimes the police can do a great job, particularly when it's a serious accident. They really do pull the stops out and do great work. Certainly the inquest I was at 2 weeks ago, I was hugely impressed by what the police had done in terms of how seriously they'd really tried to scientifically judge where the cyclist was, where the lorry was, and really tried to assist the court, and it was great. But anecdotally, over the years, I've had many cyclists say to me that when the police arrive at the scene, they just get the feeling that they're just not taken as seriously as a motorist would be. That's just something I've heard many times. It's more anecdotal than anything else. Just a couple of other quick things. Cyclist behaviour, headphones. Just can't believe that people actually do that, go out on the streets and cycle with headphones on, but they do. And that's, well, what more can you say? Helmets on, high vis on. I know these are quite obvious things.
No, absolutely no.
That's just personal view.
No. How is it dangerous?
I know it's great to get an answer. I know there's different schools of thought on cycling helmets, but if you dealt with the amount of head injuries that I've dealt with, and the amount of people who've been in the room, just given my point of view, the amount of people that I've sat in a room with who said if I wasn't wearing the cycling helmet, we wouldn't be sitting in this room. If I could just end on one point, is the point that I kept thinking about when I was at the inquest 2 weeks ago. Every left turn by a motorist, but certainly every left turn by a lorry in London, I'm thinking here particularly of inner London, where there's a greater proportion of cyclists than there is. Every left turn by a lorry is a major event.
It's not just another manoeuvre by a motorist, it's a major event, and one which should be where enough noise should be coming from that vehicle to warn everyone that it's about to happen. And I'm thinking in terms of an audible alarm from a lorry should just be, in my view, just be compulsory. It'd be so incredibly cheap to do. And that's what would have possibly saved my client's life a couple of weeks ago, and would save, I think, so many. Thank you.